Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an absolutely fantastic day. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I just punched myself in the hand. Don't know why I did that. Let's jump right into it. The last couple of weeks have kind of been finding out who owns what news within the cryptocurrency space. A lot of companies have been filing with the SEC to let the SEC know how much Bitcoin that they have. Some of the more notable ones are, we heard that there were, I think, 1,500 companies in the US that have over $100 million worth of Bitcoin. There are multiple central banks who've also announced that they have Bitcoin. I don't remember. There's been a lot. You have to watch the other videos. It's basically been daily news about this widespread accumulation. So now we have even newer data from a Bitcoin brokerage firm called River. Just River. They've revealed that the largest U.S. hedge funds have combined to accumulate Bitcoin in the billions of dollars in the form of exchange-traded fund shares. In a new thread on Twitter, River says that even though Bitcoin's market cap is relatively small, I'll get into that in a second, many of the largest hedge funds in the US already have significant exposure to Bitcoin. The idea of Bitcoin having a small market cap, I know you heard that and you kind of rolled your eyes because Bitcoin has a market cap over $1 trillion. It is more about the wider view of all of this. So when you talk about the idea of a $1 million Bitcoin or a multi-million-dollar Bitcoin, it has to do with the assumed amount of total money on the planet. So if you look online and you take into account the M1 money supply, M2 and M3, people believe that there are actually quadrillions of dollars equivalent, of all the currencies converted into US dollars, quadrillions of dollars worth of money actually flowing around out there, and that money at some point is going to begin to flow into Bitcoin. And that's how you get these crazy high numbers. We heard from the CEO from Ripple recently and Cathie Wood. They both said this about a month ago. This is where their numbers of a $10 trillion market cap come from. It's basically more money flowing into our market. Completely logical. So even the idea that, even though we have a small market cap, people are here is nonsense. No, they know that the market cap is going to continue going up. So the hedge funds and the institutions get in as early as possible. Why would you wait until the price is 15x from where it is right now when you could accumulate when the price is low, when you have billions of people who are not paying attention to all the good news that we keep getting every single day? River said, and I quote, 12 of the largest 25 U.S. hedge funds collectively have over $2.6 billion of Bitcoin ETF exposure. 11 of the largest 25 registered investment advisors, or RIAs, also have exposure, all while Bitcoin is just a $1 trillion asset class. I'm not going to rant, I'm not going to rave, but clearly the world has changed. Things are very different. We are in a completely different market right now. My predictions for a number of years ago are rapidly coming true. It is clear as day, sun outside, no clouds, that Bitcoin is going to be not only an asset for the rich, but is going to be owned by the wealthiest people on the planet. As we see the levels of accumulation that we are constantly hearing about and the price movements and where we're going to be, and even if we stay at the same levels of accumulation, we will mathematically at some point have $1 million Bitcoin. And these companies and institutions and banks and family offices and hedge funds are buying a huge portion of it. So, as predicted, there will be a point in the future where people will only have 50,000, 25,000 Satoshi to their name. And that will then, of course, also be in the future a large amount of money. Every day, every single day, every video, we've been getting news like this. And yeah, I just like making sure that everyone's aware of what's happening right in front of them, because I think the majority are not paying attention still. Yeah. That's the continuation of all the news that we've been getting over the course of the last couple of weeks about the amount of money flowing into the space. And now we're hearing about hedge funds and RIAs as well. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news, investors withdrew Bitcoin from centralized exchanges. In the last 7 days, 27,975 Bitcoin left the 20 exchanges tracked by the data platform known as CoinGlass, roughly around $1.9 billion at the time of writing. Coinbase Pro saw the most outflows with 15,000 Bitcoin leaving. Binance came in second with 7,600 Bitcoin leaving the exchange. For those of you who do not know, it is seen as a very good thing that these coins get taken off of exchanges. If you were here years ago, you know that coins going into an exchange is usually in the news as something hyper negative. It doesn't even have to be. It can be simply people moving their coins around. But a lot of the narrative revolves around, well, if people are putting their coins on exchanges, it means that they're looking to sell them, which is not usually the case. However, it ends up making the news in that way. So when people take their coins off of an exchange, it means they have no intention of selling, and therefore there's less Bitcoin than there was before on exchanges, and Bitcoin's price goes up. That's one of the ideas. But there's always Bitcoin being taken off of exchanges. There are a lot of, where do you think all this Bitcoin is coming from? It's from, there used to be millions and millions of Bitcoin on exchanges, and now there's less and less. So yeah, a lot of times these are also whales doing these movements. The whales understand that they can keep their coins on an exchange to give the illusion of less demand. And then at some point, we end up getting news that a huge $185 million movement of coins happened, and it comes from the exact same address who put those coins on there. So yeah, little manipulation magic, if you will. Yeah, those whales are taking their coins off of exchanges as, once again, analysts are constantly screaming that we are moving towards a $100,000 plus Bitcoin within the next couple of weeks. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in the news, Pine Ridge Advisors, a New York-based registered investment advisor, or an RIA, has allocated $205 million into spot Bitcoin ETFs. These funds include BlackRock, Fidelity, and Bitwise. The above-mentioned allocation represents 23% of their assets under management. Typically, you hear about investment portfolios allocating around 1%, half of a percent, sometimes 2% to a certain asset class. That's the significance of the numbers half, 1, and 2, because you might remember a number of years ago when people were announcing that they were looking at the cryptocurrency space. we kept on getting news that these companies were allocating, 0.5% into stuff. And that's when we also got the news that leaked about BlackRock about a year and a half ago at this point, where the news that leaked was that they were advising a number of their clients to actually put, I believe it was 20% plus of their money into Bitcoin, which now makes a lot more sense because Bitcoin was around $20,000? So any company who listened to them would have made triple their money. So I guess that all kind of, completely plays out. For whatever reason, we're continuously getting a lot of big companies putting money into the space news. The last 12 videos have all kind of had the exact same theme of large companies putting their money into the space, banks buying Bitcoin, central banks buying Bitcoin, hedge funds buying Bitcoin, family offices buying Bitcoin, RIAs buying Bitcoin. What was the other one that we just had as well? I don't remember. It was something about $10 billion across a very slim number of companies. Had also been put into Bitcoin ETFs as well. It's not surprising. It's just more the way that our market is right now. And yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Not ranting, not raving, not throwing my arms into the air, because people will get it. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, no matter how I act, no matter what the situation might be, for the people in the back who still are not listening, when we get to a $500,000, when we get to a $1 million Bitcoin, I just want everyone to remember all of these moments. Like really, really remember it, so that you go, of course, Bitcoin was going to go to $1 million. Of course, there wasn't a lot of Bitcoin left. Yeah, just wanted to make sure everyone gets it. That's the Pine Ridge Advisors has purchased $205 million worth of Bitcoin through ETFs. And yeah, let's move on. Not being mean, but I don't know why this was the most, I don't, maybe it's just one of those things. So you know how we just got news that a company bought $200 million worth of Bitcoin, and we keep seeing that all these gigantic companies and institutions are buying large amounts of Bitcoin, and hedge funds are buying billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Can you guess which news story was the most popular one? Yeah, it's the one on the screen. So apparently the CEO of Grayscale, his name is Michael Sonnenschein, has stepped down as CEO and is being replaced by someone called Peter Mintzberg. These names are fascinating. So Sonnenschein means sunshine, and Mintzberg is Mint Mountain. If you add the T there. Anyway, Mintzberg has over 20 years of experience with global expertise. Mintzberg has deep knowledge across a broad base of client types and asset classes, and is joining from Goldman Sachs. Before that, he held leadership roles at BlackRock, Oppenheimer Funds, and Invesco. Cool. Very popular news. I think maybe it's because Grayscale was the first company to make sure that the SEC's corruption couldn't continue to go unchecked. They essentially, for those of you who don't know the story, Grayscale is literally the reason why we have Bitcoin ETFs. It was noted before that the SEC did not want another lawsuit against them that they would lose. And as Grayscale sued the SEC and won, they're the reason, because the SEC was like, we can't do this again because it was pie in their face or mud in their face or whatever you throw into the SEC's face. Yeah, so I assume it's because Michael Sonnenschein led the company, which then got us Bitcoin ETFs, and therefore his departure is sweet sorrow or something like that. I think it's fine. A lot of times when these people leave their CEO positions, they usually become CFOs or CTOs or COOs of the company. So he's still rich. Like, it's not like a sad moment. Like, this isn't like, oh no, he's broke now. That's crazy. No, like he's doing just fine. I'm pretty sure he's still in the company in some sort of way, or maybe he's just gonna go live on one of his islands. That because I assume he's like wealthy now. So yeah. That's the Michael Sonnenschein is leaving Grayscale as their CEOs and will be replaced by Mintzberg. And yeah, let's move on. Also constantly popping into the news over and over again. During the first quarter of this year, the number of transactions conducted on the XRP ledger surpassed or surged by 108%, while fees dropped by 45%. One of the main things years ago, one of the things that made XRP very popular was its low transaction fees. This was a time where Bitcoin's fees were like $28. Yeah, so you can imagine people trying to send $500 and it says, hey, your network fee is $26.55. Didn't turn a lot of heads. So when XRP popped up, and one of the legends was that transactions only cost 1 cent compared to $25, $26, $27, therefore became quite popular. We're getting a lot of altcoin news beginning to rush back into the news as of late. Ripple disclosed this data in its latest quarterly crypto market report. Notably, the XRP ledger recorded, that's a huge number. The XRP ledger recorded 121 million transactions at the end of last year, but that number more than doubled to 251,397,000 transactions by the end of quarter one. While transactions surged, usually the transaction fees also go up. The average transaction fee reduced by 45% compared to the previous quarter. So apparently XRP's fees were 0.001 cent, so 1 decimal even over from 1 cent. And apparently the new fees are 0.0008. So it is multiple decimal places away from 1 cent. I was going to say $1. Nope, even the actual 1 cent thing. So we're getting a lot of, for those of you who've missed it, we're getting a lot of XRP lawsuit ending news. We're getting a lot of central banks are working with Ripple news, and we're basically waiting for the end of the lawsuit so that Ripple can go public. Ripple is also launching a stable coin on XRP's ledger, and that is also expected to significantly boost the price of the coin, with once again the calls for $7, $8, $9, $10, $11, $12 XRP ringing loudly in the air. But we're also getting these price predictions for a number of other coins as the market continues to recover, if you will. Yeah, that's the XRP transactions jumped quite significantly. More people are using it, and also that's a very low transaction fee. That if we can get transaction fees anywhere close to this number on Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's basically GG no re for every other chain out there. Yeah, that's the XRP news. Moving along. So, for whatever reason, Ethereum has been having a very weird year where normally we hear that Ethereum is going to have around 1 to 2, maybe 2, different upgrades or updates over the course of the year. For some reason, that number has jumped to like 9. And we've had multiple developers and Vitalik Buterin come forward to talk about the next big thing for the network. And I'll say this lightly, problem is that we've been hearing a lot of this stuff since 2016 We are just now getting upgrades like the merge and Ethereum 2.0 and proof of stake after like 7 years of waiting. So all the new things that are being thrown out there sound cool and fun, but will they ever actually be implemented? Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin has released a new article detailing upcoming improvements to the Ethereum network. The enhancements focus on decentralization, peer DOS, and Verkle tree transition, and decentralized methods for storing history as proposed in the Ethereum Improvement Proposal 4444. So without having to like really read too much of it or go into a lot of it, there are new ways that they're looking to improve Ethereum. Apparently, they're trying to make it more decentralized and no one has actually brought this up as a topic, but for some reason, there's now rumors and discussions that because of proof of stake, that the network might be far more centralized because you have a lot more mining pools who are pooling money together to stake, and therefore if these pools continue to get bigger, then it's less decentralized than with all the millions of thousands of hundreds of billions of machines that were mining Ether before. Trying to lower transaction fees because, you know, that's also a gigantic problem. Speed up the network without breaking it. What are the there's a multitude of all these things. So it's not bad, but it's also I've been here long enough that I know that a lot of times these improvements don't happen or take a very long time. It's the same thing for Bitcoin, but typically Bitcoin updates aren't promised. It's more of people in the community came together, or there was a developer who proposed something for the network, put it up to a vote, it got voted on, and now it's going to be implemented. As opposed to, hey, there's a problem, it needs to be painted over. Who has paint? No one has paint. Let's use nail polish. Who doesn't have nail polish? Okay, let's throw a Pokemon card on top of it. No Pokemon cards? Okay, let's use a piece of construction paper. And then it takes a long time for someone to get to the store to buy the paint. They have to call back and ask you what the color was, and you say it's red, but then they're like, what kind of red? And this is what Ethereum has kind of become. It's like a all directions kind of thing at the exact same time. And I feel like if we had a number of the normal things on that the other networks have, and or they simply just work on the transactions per second. It's not that Verkle trees and peer DOS and all these other things aren't amazing or fantabulous. But if you worked on exclusively making Ethereum have 10,000, 15,000 transactions per second and made a way to lower the transaction fees to 1 cent, the entire world would use it. But it's like the constant patchwork. Let's do this because of this. And it's like none of it actually ends up getting activated. And if it does, it's years down the line. So yeah, this is two more things from the 7 that we heard before, talking about being implemented on Ethereum. It's not bad. It's wonderful. But, you got to get to the point where you actually do stuff. And I, say it once again lightly because I'm not a developer, so I don't know the difficulty of a worldwide decentralized system that you're trying to upgrade. But I feel like if you just focused on 2 things as opposed to 16... Right. That's the Ethereum has more upgrades coming news. Oh, yeah. Let's move on. Also I think this was supposed to be big news, and this only continuously tells me that people in the market are either brand new here, don't know what's happening in the world, and or I truly don't know. Venezuela is a country that should be incredibly wealthy. However, due to excessive amounts of, the only word I can find is corruption, their economy has completely gone down the toilet, and it's been that way for a while now. When I first got into the crypto space, one of the major news stories was how Bitcoin could help Venezuela. It was something similar to the El Salvador news in that if your economy's not doing too hot and Bitcoin continues to do well and you adopt Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes up in price and all of your people in your country begin to use it, Bitcoin will do well. It'll go up in value. Your people will become rich. You know, the entire thing. The opposite happened where Venezuela announced that they were going to be making their own crypto called the Petro, Petro, based off of the word petrol because they are rich in petrol. The issue is that their currency continued to devalue, and their president famously told people, because the one of the issues is that people in Venezuela were literally running, you've heard this story, running to the store with like pillowcases full of money to buy flour. And by the time they got to the store, they needed more pillowcases. Not a joke. You can find videos of it. Like it's quite well documented. So he famously told people, he's like, you can't buy flour, go get some chickens and put them on your balcony. So you have eggs every morning. As opposed to, trying to fix the economy that he helped destroy. So recently the news broke that it is now apparently illegal to mine cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, whatever, within Venezuela. And when I say that people are new or simply don't look at news, it's because this has been happening for a while. Like literally, like the whole Bitcoin mining thing, because their power grid is terrible and hasn't been updated in a very long time and is probably not going to do so because public funds get siphoned away and are used by the government for corrupt things. So remember when I told you we had a news story years ago, but I retold this about a week or two ago, about the entire idea of like mining coins or running code, which is all that mining is. You're running computer code, being illegal. It's basically because people in Venezuela, it's always been bad there, but people said that years ago they were literally using like a old machine to mine Bitcoin, and they were getting like 25 cents per day, like in US dollar equivalent, and that was enough to literally feed their family. So they were relying on that. But however, you can't have that when you have corruption. So they're trying to shut down basically everyone from using any type of mining equipment because it's overloading their power grid. It says Venezuelans, once seeking solace in the digital gold rush, now face a harsh reality. The country, grappling with hyperinflation and economic instability, has banned all crypto mining farms connected to the national grid. You don't understand what hyperinflation means. I'm telling you, watch a documentary on it. There are a couple things, a couple videos that will really make you appreciate the life that you have a lot more. A lot more. The decision announced by the National Power Ministry is prioritizing the crumbling power grid over the once booming crypto industry. The craziest part is that if they had adopted Bitcoin as people told them to do so back in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, this would be one of the richest countries on the planet. If they had advised their citizens to buy Bitcoin, there would be a brand new class of multimillionaires and billionaires in the country, and the ease at which they could actually fix their system would be like that. Even more ironic than what I just told you is they can do the exact same thing right now before Bitcoin goes to $1 million per coin. But they're not going to, because the old system needs to stay in power, because that's the only way to stay in power. If you keep the old power structures, and I mean not the electrical grid, I mean the people who keep running things. They want to maintain their power at the expense of everyone and everything else. So this was actually also quite major news. This has been going on for a very long time. If you get the chance, and it's Very fascinating watch, very fascinating look to see the last 10 years and how this has unfolded. And it's just because of incompetence and corruption, which can easily be mitigated and or fixed. But there's a reason for the word corruption. Yeah, crazy, right? I mean, I'm naive in that I always assume that things will get better or that people will do better or that time will make things better. But, you know, we could live on a completely different planet if people just helped each other and cared for each other, as opposed to making sure that they remain in power in a literal crumbling nation. But that's not reality, is it? I think that's going to do it for this video. I do sincerely hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.